Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It is a beautiful Thursday morning, February 4th, 2021, 8 o'clock Central on the dot. We get together most weekday mornings with our distribution partners to talk strategy, to educate, talk tips, share success stories, and such. We have three types of distribution partners. We have affiliates. It's free and easy to be an affiliate. Who wouldn't want to be an affiliate? And you can access that on the career page of the IIMFL website. You'll see our URL right here. Second, we have credit literacy educators. They're involved with, to no surprise, educating on credit, and they generate income by helping clients improve their credit, not through credit repair, but through credit boost, which is a topic we're going to be discussing today in great depth. And then we have our joint venture partners. Our joint venture partners are at the top of the food chain. We do a 50-50 revenue split with them. And they are also affiliates. They're also credit literacy educators. They encompass those lower roles. Okay, so we get lots of feedback, and we've got about 5,000 distribution partners now, which is great. And it's wonderful to be able to learn from each of you issues, topics, concerns that we need to probably bring out to the overall field. And so today's topic is certainly one of those. Tom, my name's Tom, but a different Tom, one of our distribution partners, had some specific questions, and we thought, well, let's bring that as the topic of the day today. So any of you that have questions or a lack of clarity or frankly even concerns about the Credit Boost program, let me go through this brief curriculum and then let's dig deep, because if it's a question that you have, chances are others have it as well. There's only so much time in the day, and so while all of you are very, very important to us, we're going to look for trends and questions and bring them to this format, because we don't have time in the day to talk to each of 5,000 of you separately. Okay, so our topic today is a deep dive in Credit Boost. So we're not here to create a rah-rah, oh, isn't it great, go make a lot of money, but we're going to dig into some of the specifics that we're hearing questions, comments, or concerns on. I will summarize the value proposition first. So what is Credit Boost? It's a no upfront cost program offered by us, a 501c3 nonprofit, to rapidly increase credit scores. Okay? It is not credit repair. As you've heard us say before, we do not compete with credit repair companies. And that's important for a couple reasons. A, it's not what we do. And B, we love working with credit repair professionals because they can almost double dip, if you will. They can be charging the client for removing derogatory items, which we'll talk more about in a moment. And then they can also earn commissions by us helping add new positive credit. So if you're to think about what's the formula for excellent credit, it is removing derogatory and adding positive. And so not everyone needs to add more positive, and certainly not everyone needs to have derogatories removed, but they're two complementary pieces. They're not conflicting or competitive with each other. We do one of those very well, and then we work with others that handle the credit repair. Many of you do that. And we'll talk more about credit repair as we go along here, because that's coming up frequently with the questions that you all have. Okay, so part of our value proposition is we're averaging around 100-point increase in 30 to 60 days. Could be more, could be less, but we certainly guarantee a credit improvement. And it's not that, oh, we just get the first 100 points and we're done. It's very possible that it could continue to grow as time goes along. All right, so what's beautiful about the Credit Boost program is clients only pay based upon results. There's no upfront cost for Credit Boost. Now, some of you are getting confused with that, and we're going to talk a little bit more in detail as we go along, but from a marketing pitch, there's no upfront cost for the Credit Boost program. It's based upon results, and that's true, that's accurate, that's factual. We have a great commission program. It's not a sales position. Being a credit literacy educator does not involve selling anything to anyone. You educate and refer in. We provide a landing page. You can also go out and teach our Credit 101. Hopefully you all are familiar with it. If not, I'll bring it up as a topic of the day here soon. Credit 101 is an educational session that can be taught in person or online, can be as little as 30 minutes, can be a 4-hour or a full day course. You can go out and teach it, and it's an amazing opportunity to educate and create a massive funnel of Credit Boost clients. We'll see about 90% of the people that go through Credit 101 become a Credit Boost client on average. Separate from teaching that, just by referring in one client per day, no selling involved, because you know you're going to earn an average of $300 or more per client. At $300 times 30 days in the month, you're sitting on $9,000 a month with a side gig income. Now, again, I know a lot of you are big hitters and you all make a lot, so many of you make a lot of money. So an extra $9,000 a month isn't even worth your attention. But for the average American, they don't even make $9,000 a month from their full-time employment or from owning their own small business. So to have an extra $9,000 a month with no selling involved, just referring in for a side gig, helping people solve problems is a big deal. So that's what I always have to really persuade each of you is don't look only through the lenses on your glasses, because you may be very successful. And again, an extra $9,000 a month is pittance to you. But for most people, that's not the case. An extra $9,000 a month is a big deal for most people. Please realize that. All right. We're moving towards, and so think of it as a radio dial, right? So we're in the process of turning up the volume on Credit Boost. We're getting our legs under us. We're adding new trade lines. We're becoming more and more proficient. Just to give you a sneak peek, and it's not in place now, so don't feel that this is being misrepresented. We're turning up the dial where what we're going to be able to do is start offering trade lines that have a weekly reporting cycle. Think about that for a moment. So now, under that scenario, not now as of February 4th, but under that scenario, someone signs up for Credit Boost today on February 4th. By February 11th, the new positive credit is already reporting. Their credit score has skyrocketed in less than, well, in a week. So, because every 7 days we would be reporting then. That changes the game entirely, right? Now you're not waiting 30 to 60 days for a new trade line to report. It's there within 7 days. And so now when they couldn't have been approved for something that they were trying to finance just a week ago, now they can. Car dealerships are going to love that, right? Because they frequently have people that come in that can't get approved for automobile financing, but people don't really want to wait 30 or 60 days to buy an automobile if they have an urgent need. So that is in the process. That is not in place yet. I'm just letting you know what's coming down the pike. But regardless of that unique attribute, what you and I do in helping people improve their credit legally, ethically, and quickly is a big deal. Again, doesn't compete against credit repair. We're not involved with credit repair. We work collaboratively with credit repair professionals, but that's not what we do. But being able to add new trade lines, primary and seasoned trade lines to boost scores is very valuable, and it's often overlooked. So that's a summary, and there's really nothing new there other than just giving you a sneak peek into moving towards weekly reporting. Okay, now we're going to get into some really important topics, because this is what some of you have been dinging us with questions and some even sensitivity. We have one gentleman that was emailing yesterday, and he takes great pride in the people that he refers to, and he kind of coddles them, and I'm not dismissing that, but to him, he's emotionally connected to each Credit Boost client he refers in. And he heard us use the term subprime, and I feel that he was almost offended by that. And so let's talk about subprime versus prime. As a matter of fact, no emotions involved. So no one, in America, no one is locked into where they are in society. You could have bad credit now, but you could have good or great credit very soon. Credit doesn't have a memory, credit is fluid. When we label someone as subprime, it's not like an insult, like we're throwing out that you're ugly or you're stupid. No, we're just saying quantifiably, based upon your credit profile, you're subprime. It's not a judgment or an accusation or an insult. It's just an actual categorization of where you're at. And ignoring that is not healthy because you don't want to be subprime. Most of us throughout life, I know I've been subprime at times. Most of us through life will have ups and downs. That's the way life is for most of us. But subprime is defined as having a low enough credit profile that you don't have immediate access to financing, whether it be to buy a house, to buy a car, to get business loans, or what have you. It's an important and healthy categorization. And so to say that we're working with subprime people and they have unique issues is not a bad thing. It's reality. It's truth. It's helping understand. I'm not a smoker, never have been. But if I'm a smoker, you may have perceptions of, well, that's unhealthy and that's not a wise thing to do. But if I'm a smoker, then if I wish to change that, then you can help me because you know I'm a smoker, you know I have that health risk and so forth. So the difference between subprime and prime people are their access to financing. Now, I'm going to dig a little deeper, and this is not going to feel good, and people don't like to hear this, but we just need to work through. If you're subprime, then typically what that means is you've made promises in the past that you didn't keep. You don't look honorable. You don't look trustworthy. You've had extensions of credit that you either didn't pay as agreed, whether it be you didn't pay at all, didn't pay on time, what have you. And again, this is just us talking as business associates. This is not like some sort of personal assessment of someone. And so that would matter to a lender, right? What's the number one concern that a lender or extender of credit has? Well, if I lend this person money or extend credit to this person, will they do as agreed? Will they pay it back as they promised to do? Well, subprime people have a little bit of an issue because they've not done that, at least as it reflects on their credit report. So lenders or extenders of credit are cautious, and you would be too, right? If you loan me $10 for lunch today and I promise to pay you back next week, but then I ask you next week for another $10 and I still haven't paid you back, you're going to look at me different, a different type of risk category, right? It's just economics. It's not personal. So when we're working with subprime clients, which is really who Credit Boost is designed for. Oh, so we're taking advantage of subprime people. Absolutely not. It's just the opposite of that. We've developed an effective legal and ethical resource to help move people that are subprime to prime, which is the second point here. Well, how do you do that? How do you make someone that's subprime prime? You help them create new positive credit that shows that they're honorable, that they're credible, that they'll pay as agreed. That's how you move someone from subprime to prime, meaning that their credit score goes up, and we're creating a history of prompt payments. Well, you can't do that if you don't. Here's another misnomer. Some people will think, okay, I've got crappy credit, whatever happened in life happened. So I hire a credit repair company, and let's say they even take every negative thing off, Is that going to give me an optimal credit score? Is that going to give me optimal borrowing capacity? No, and no to both of those. Because while the negative may have been removed, and again, that's not what we do, but if the negative is removed, we still need to establish positive payment history to give lenders and extenders of credit confidence that we can manage debt and that we'll pay on time, that we'll pay as agreed. So when we're taking a client through Credit Boost, and this is getting real important here, and this addresses some of Tom's questions or concerns and probably others. So we're adding new trade lines through Credit Boost. And some people will come back and say, well, I don't want that trade line. Just give me a $20,000 American Express. I'm exaggerating or using hyperbole, but let's just say, that they look at the trade line that's offered even though they're subprime, and they're thinking, I just want a prime trade line. Well, if it, and we could do that with secondary or AUs, but from a primary perspective, you don't qualify for it. We have people that are in the 400s and 500s and low 600s that come into Credit Boost, which is great. We love those folks. That's what we're here to do. It's our passion. It's our mission. But sometimes they're like, well, I don't want that subprime trade line. I want a prime trade line. Well, that's exactly what we're trying to move you to, but you don't qualify for that yet. That's why you're in Credit Boost. Because if you could just go apply for a $20,000 American Express, why in the world would you enroll in Credit Boost? Why would you need our services? So the trade lines that we're adding through Credit Boost is designed to move people from subprime to prime by creating positive payment history. That's what we do. And so I'm not burdening you with packaging all this discussion up where you have to share it with every prospect. But I just want you to know at a high level that when we're adding trade lines through Credit Boost, in most cases, they're going to be what I would categorize as subprime trade lines. They're serving a purpose to get the client from where they're at to where they want to be. So they can go get the $20,000 Amex or more. So they can go qualify for the big mortgage. So they can go qualify for the business financing. You've got to understand that, because some people will come to us and they're I think they're almost financially illiterate, where they're thinking they're going to get things for trade lines in Credit Boost that are different than reality. Okay, so let's move on. The Credit Boost cost structure, we're also getting dinged with lots of questions about that, which is fine. That's any question is a good question. I was a college professor, and before that, as a high school teacher, I taught economics. And what I really like to encourage are questions, but the most important question that one can ever ask is why? Why is it like that? Why does it work that way? Why do we do it that way? And typically there's going to be a well thought out reason. And so if you want to ask any question today, that's great. And the why questions are the most important. So let's get into the Credit Boost cost structure. And again, everything we do is in writing. All of our client agreements are in writing. As a credit literacy educator, our agreement with you is in writing. Writing. We're talking about compliance here at the end, compliance with agreements, but that's our last bullet. Okay, so is it true that the Credit Boost program has no upfront cost? It absolutely is true. We do not charge upfront for the Credit Boost program. We do not charge upfront for the Credit Boost program. Can someone pay upfront for the Credit Boost program? Yes, and we've talked about this briefly before. Instead of paying a performance fee based upon their credit score increase, they can pay you $500 upfront. You keep half, you send half to us, and then they would have an upfront cost, but then they wouldn't have a per point increase. So that's the exception to the norm. And we have people that do that all the time. They don't want to pay the per point increase. They would rather just pay $499.99 up front. You keep half, we get half. But that's not the norm. That's the exception to the norm. So the norm is no upfront cost. Now, on the Credit Boost agreement, there is an ACH sheet, and people see that and say, well, why are you asking for my banking information if there's no upfront cost? Well, because it's not a free program. There is no upfront cost, but there is a performance fee based upon each point your credit score goes up. So you're promising to pay us based upon that, and then that's how we pay each of you. You all make $5 of that 10. So we're paying out 50% to you. So we need to be able to collect from the client based upon the results to pay you. That's how the model works, right? Well, why are you collecting the ACH information up front? Well, we don't want to be so brash, but it's like, well, you've got bad credit. You haven't paid your bills in the past. So we're going to go ahead and have that banking information on file. So if you don't pay your invoice, which we'll talk about how that works here in a minute, second to last bullet, then we're going to pull from your account. You're giving us authorization, but we don't pull from it until after the fact. And if you don't pay the invoice, to me, that's Very, very fair, right? Okay, so there is no upfront cost. We charge the client $10 per point increase. It is a point-to-point system. So each month, our credit boost manager, Paula, which I'll reintroduce you to her here in a minute. I introduced her yesterday virtually through the training, but her team pulls the reports, looks at the difference over the past 30 days, invoices the client based upon the improvement over the last 30 days. Now, some of you ask questions like, well, what happens in the second 30 days? The same thing. Every 30 days, she's creating a new point, and the credit point from 30 days ago is the new baseline. The credit score as of today, 30 days later from the last one, is the new point. We measure the delta, the change, the improvement, and we invoice the client. And we invoice them in writing. And so they get that. If they have questions or concerns, they have an opportunity to respond. They have 2 days to pay that according to the written agreement. So it's point to point, billed monthly. Okay, now here's where some people are getting really a little wiry about. They're like, well, I told my client there's no cost for the credit boost program, and there are costs. Well, of course there's cost, not for the credit boost program itself, but those that are incidental or indirect. And this is clearly disclosed in the agreement, but let's talk about it. So let's say that we get them a $10,000 extension of credit, primary, funded into their account, right? So it's great. So they get $10,000. Guess what? They need to pay according to the lender's terms for that $10,000, right? It's no surprise. If you borrow money, you have to pay it back as the terms that you agreed to. Do we pay for that? Those payments? Of course not. That's ludicrous to think that. So when they get an extension of credit, they're agreeing to those, and we're not doing it on their behalf, right? We don't get some sort of power of attorney and sign people up for things they don't know. Never, ever, ever. We don't ever get a power of attorney. So instead, we guide them through the process. We get them new credit. They'll apply for it themselves, and then they will agree to those terms. So that's the case. Now, here's probably the sorest subject of them all. And so we're going to reason through this together. Some subprime trade lines have application fees. Well, why is that? Well, they're dealing with people that haven't paid their bills on time in the past, and there's a cost of processing the application, and there's a cost for them to be able to do the packaging and generate the reporting to the bureaus. There's a lot of work and a lot of compliance that goes into being a data furnisher. So, I mean, you could just go borrow $50 from your Uncle Bubba, right? But is that going to help your Experian credit report? Of course not. So what we're dealing with are trade lines, not from Uncle Bubba, but actually from extenders of credit that report. So yes, some trade lines will have an application fee. Again, what we have to avoid is the rationale, well, I don't want to do any of those. I just want that $20,000 American Express. They don't charge upfront an application fee. You don't qualify for that. If you qualified for prime credit, you wouldn't be in Credit Boost. We're working with you to build your profile to move you from subprime to prime, right? We just talked about that. So we have to be reasonable and understand what we're doing is incredibly valuable. We're changing people's lives, but we all need to understand how the model works. It's legal, it's ethical, it's in writing, and we all need to understand how it works. Okay. Next topic, how does credit repair fit into Credit Boost? I've said several times, we are not a credit repair company. Nothing against them, love them, respect them. They do great things for many people. We have many that are educators and or affiliates with us that refer to us. You should be reaching out to every credit repair company in the world that you can find and trying to bring them into your hierarchy because they can be a great source of referrals. But we are not a credit repair service. That is not to say that many people wouldn't benefit from credit repair. As we addressed at the beginning of the call, to get optimal credit, the formula is remove negative and add positive. Now, of course, not everybody needs more positive. Not everybody has negative to remove. Can they be successful in credit boost by just adding positive and not removing negative? Of course, of course. We can build the score even though they have derogatories. Absolutely. Will you get an even higher score if you add positive and remove negative? Of course. But that's not like a hidden agenda of ours. We don't have any financial interest or remuneration from any credit repair company. So there's no hidden agenda there at all. Clients are going to fit into one of three categories, credit boost clients. Either they don't want or they don't need credit repair. Great, so it's immaterial. Second is some of them come to us and they're already in a credit repair program. Maybe it's a formal program, maybe it's just something they're working on their own. That's fine. It really doesn't matter to us. We're adding new positive credit, we're assessing each month, we're invoicing them, we're paying you. So it doesn't matter to us. And frankly, we don't even specifically track if they're in credit repair or not because it's not what we're offering. However, then there's the third category of those folks that are not in credit repair when they enroll with us, but then they realize, oh, okay, if I also remove negative as well as adding positive, that would help me even more. So some people will enroll in credit repair. We've got credit repair companies that are doubling their business by going out to the marketplace, pitching credit boost with no upfront cost, bringing clients in credit boost, and then turning around and then enrolling them in credit repair. Again, that's their marketing strategy for their credit repair business. We're not part of that, but so we could have three different categories. Now you might say, well, if they go through credit repair and that helps further increase their credit score and we're charging them $10 a point, how does that work? Well, we're not isolating different variables, so it doesn't matter if they're in credit repair or not. It doesn't matter any of those other variables. We're just simply adding trade lines with no upfront cost, and then we're monitoring improvement, invoicing them, and paying you. So what's the underlying message? If someone's also in credit repair, would you probably make more money because they're also removing derogatories as we're adding positive? Yes, yes. Is it a conflict of interest for us? Absolutely not. You know, we're doing what we promised to do. We're getting paid the way that we promised, they promised to pay us. All right, now this is a completely redundant point from yesterday's training. We advised that we have a new credit boost manager. She's on board. She's a W-2 employee. It's tomorrow on Friday, the 5th, that all of her technology is being set up. She works offsite, so her phone system and all that's being set up. So she'll be fully operational come next week. But she's here and working, and so she works with Credit Boost clients. She does the monthly pulls. Her and her team invoices them. Her and her team are responsible for paying you off of the Credit Boost program. And as I mentioned yesterday, it's great. Clients pay on time. They've got new they've got better credit scores. Plus, we can report their payments to us on time. So it's like a double benefit. But if they don't pay on time, then there's negative things that happen, right? Then they're going to have collection cost, probably a lawsuit against them, and then also derogatory credit reported. So it's the definition of insanity to enroll in Credit Boost and not pay us, because they're going to dig such a hole, they'll be in credit hell, as we call it, afterwards. So we'll do what we promised to do, but we'll ask them to pay on time, because if they don't pay on time, then you don't get paid, and you deserve to get paid. All right, lastly, we have a new compliance manager. So we made an organizational decision. We will not have a collections department. We're going to have we have now a compliance department. This gentleman's been hired. We'll do a formal announcement next week. His first full day at work is tomorrow. He's ex-military. He's smart. Psych ops is his background. Was airborne, so brave guy. He'll jump out of planes. But the point is, he's by the rules, man. He's by the rules. And so he's going to be making sure that we follow our rules, follow and comply with our agreements with clients. So anytime that a client feels that we're not being fully compliant, they go through our compliance officer so we can be accountable. But guess what? He's going to be working rather assertively with any of our joint venture partners, credit literacy educators, affiliates, clients, whomever that don't comply. And so he's by the, it's called four corners of the paper. He's going to look at the agreement and say, are we doing what we promised to do? And is the other person doing what they promised to do? And then his job is to resolve that or cause it to be resolved. Okay, so that's what I wanted to go through. I'm going to dig into questions. We've got a bunch of great questions here, but I wanted to take a deep dive because some of you were asking questions about Credit Boost, good questions, and I wanted to explain more deeply how it works. All right, so Billy's excited about the weekly reporting. He understands how incredibly powerful that is, and that's, I don't think, available anywhere else in the marketplace. So thank you for that, Billy. Robert asked a good question. So what we said is the client agrees to pay us $10 per point increase, and we agree to pay you the $5. We bill monthly, and that's done by the Credit Boost department. Paula is the manager. So Robert's question is, well, if they have an increase and we bill them, are they expected to pay the bill? Strangely enough, they are. They are. So because that's what we've agreed to do. So whatever their increases each month, we invoice them. We'll answer any questions they have, of course, but then they're expected to pay it, right? That's the way the model works. Now, you might say, well, that seems aggressive. Well, it's just the opposite. We're doing them a favor. We're charging them nothing up front. If they were to go online and start buying primary and age trade lines, they'd be spending thousands of dollars up front with the hope and the prayer that they report. We don't charge up front for the Credit Boost program. We're only charging after the results have shown. And we're not adding any trade lines without their permission, Robert. So keep that in mind. Whether it be primary or aged, we are not mischievously just jacking up their credit to invoice them. They're involved with the process. They're making the conscious decision of how to boost their credit. And then the results come from that and we invoice them. All right, Dion asked a question about bankruptcy clients. And so certainly bankruptcies can be removed, and we've seen that many times. So getting a bankruptcy off of a credit report is obviously doable. However, even if the bankruptcy is not removed from the credit report, we can still add positive credit, get their score up, and help them but move from subprime to prime. So prior bankruptcy is not an issue. They can even have an open bankruptcy and still qualify. Okay. Question on the upfront. So I was afraid I'd confuse some of you, and I confused legacy, and that's my fault, not yours. So let's go back. There's no upfront cost for Credit Boost, but we do have an option. It's an either or, it's not a both. If they want to pay $499.99, call it $500 upfront to you, legacy, they pay to you upfront. You keep half, send us half. Then we do the same thing that we were talking about doing through this, but then they don't have a 10-point increase. So you see, it's one or the other. But for many of you, I'd recommend just keep it simple. Use the normal, no upfront cost. But just so you know, clients, and this is stated in your credit literacy educator agreement, they can pay $500. We split it 50-50, then they have no performance fees. Thank you, Legacy, for that question. In regards to the trade lines that have application fees, typically application fees for subprime trade lines are $99. That's what we typically see. Timothy asks, what's the score goal for Credit Boost clients that are in access to capital? Okay, so let me put that in context. So we have two primary campaigns. We have access to capital to help small businesses get $100,000 or more to start or grow a business. No upfront cost, no minimum credit scores to qualify to participate in the program, no minimum time in business. So Timothy's question is if someone's in access to capital, in the second week we look at their credit, and if we see that their credit would benefit from Credit Boost, then we'll recommend that. We don't require it, we'll recommend that. And then so Timothy's question is, well, what's the credit score goal for those clients? Well, obviously the better score, the better, the higher the score, the better. And different sources of capital have different credit score requirements. So the goal for an access to capital client that's in Credit Boost will vary based upon their capital raise strategy, because different sources of capital have different credit score requirements. Thank you, Timothy. And so that wasn't a clear-cut answer, but there's not a clear-cut answer. It depends on the client's circumstances. All right, Mark's asking when do we receive our link to the landing page? So Mark, once someone becomes a credit literacy educator, normally within 24 hours, we will create a landing page and a flyer and send that to you. So if you haven't received that, email us and let us know, and we'll figure out maybe you didn't see it, or maybe somehow we forgot to do it. I don't know in your case, but with that, I would just email in. You can email me, Thomas, Thomas, at iimfl.org, and we'll take a look, Mark. But normally, when someone becomes a credit literacy educator, within one business day, we will set them up in the system. We'll create a landing page, we'll create a flyer, and we'll send that to them via email. Okay, Dion asks, how long is the Credit Boost program? It's a 12-month program. Great question. And again, all this is in writing. So if you're in the Credit Boost program, you can just simply look at your DocuSign and see all these specifics. Nothing's changing. Robert's asking, do they pay all at once? Well, again, Robert, so each month we track, well, let's go down to Paula's. So each month she's doing the soft pulls. She's creating an invoice based upon the improvement, and then they pay within 2 days. That's what they promised to pay. And that allows us to pay you, Robert, the $5. So yes, they pay on a monthly basis based upon the improvement. That's the way it works. All right, thank you, Michael. He's working on getting his funding. And yes, so we have both aged as well as primary accounts. So we have a variety of options, both in revolving and installment. Monique's asking for the form. Monique, can you clarify which form you want? You probably typed that prior in the conversation, so I don't remember what form you're asking for, but happy to share it with you or others. All right, Billy asks, when they pay the $500, how many points will they get? Okay, great. So Billy's asking if they're doing the upfront cost, which is not even listed on here, but we said, okay, people can pay $500 up front, $499.99. You keep half goes to us. They're going through the same program. It's just they're not paying a performance fee. So it's still your program. We're still adding credit, adding positive trade lines. It's just in lieu of, instead of them paying based upon results, they're opting in to pay $500 up front. So it's still the same program. It's just simply they're prepaying a discounted fee, Billy. And yes, we'll of course send out the recording. We send it out each day. If you're not a credit literacy educator, joint venture partner, or affiliate, you may not be getting the recording, so you would need to get plugged in. All right, Jim asks, do we do an automatic ACH charge from the Credit Boost client's bank account? Ah, great. So that's a very good question. So what happens, Jim, is Paula and her team, who run the Credit Boost program, will do the monthly soft pulls, as we've said. Her team will invoice the client and prompt them to pay. And often people will pay via Zelle or MoneyGram or other ways. But so that is the first offer, the first recommendation. And then if they fail to pay, then what has happened? Well, now they're late and they have the late fees plus we have the ACH to collect from. So no, we don't automatically just zip it out of their via ACH. No, we invoice them and give them the opportunity to pay out of the method that they prefer. But if they don't pay, then they're in default. Now they have late fees, collection cost. It's going to be reported as derogatory. So their credit's going to drop like a rock. And then we can do the ACH. Thank you, Jim. Okay. Robert, boy, you're beating me to death with this. So I don't know what else to say. We'll go through it one more time. Each month, the Credit Boost Department conducts a monthly pull. We figure out their improvement. We invoice them so they can pay us $10 per point. And the contract reads it's due within 2 days. And then they pay us and we pay you. That's the end of the story. There's nothing else there, right? Other than the fact that if they don't pay within 2 days, then we have the legal right, we have authorization to yank it out of their account via ACH along with late fees. But they owe each month based upon the improvement. Okay. Michael asked, do affiliates get a landing page and a flyer? Well, there are 2 campaigns, Michael. We have the Access to Capital campaign and the Credit Boost. Credit Boost is only offered by credit literacy educators. If you're just an affiliate, you're not going to make a penny by referring people in for Credit Boost. You're not plugged in. The background check's not been done. You don't have a landing page. So if you want to promote Credit Boost and make on average $9,000 a month, then you need to be a credit literacy educator. And then we provide you a flyer and a landing page. Separate from that, we do flyers and landing pages for the Access to Capital. You do not need to be an educator to be an affiliate. Affiliates can receive the Access to Capital landing page and flyer as long as they're going through the program themselves, because it's the hands-on experience of learning it, plus they get $100,000. Otherwise, you just simply go to the IIMFL website and there's an inquiry form at the bottom of the page that you can submit people on. All right, Monique is asking, I guess, for this here, the outline. So yes, I don't mind attaching this to the recording that goes out. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be thick-skulled. Okay, so I think we covered a lot, and this was hopefully helpful because we're seeing incredible volume. You know, it's going to continue to ramp up, but without exaggeration, we'll soon be helping thousands of clients per month in the Credit Boost program. It's a really big deal. It meets an unmet need in the marketplace. So from that, this is an opportunity for you to be involved, help a lot of people, make a lot of money. Even on a conservative basis, what we want to see is you earning at least $9,000 a month. And that's simply by referring in, no selling involved, refer in 1 client a day that enrolls in the Credit Boost. You know, you earn on average $300 per, 300 times 30 days in a month is 9,000. If that's not enough for you, you can, you know, kick up the volume and refer in 2 a day or 3 a day or 5 a day. I mean, you control that. The way to drive massive volume is to connect with key influencers. And we talked about that on yesterday's training, so I'm not going to be redundant on that. There are a lot of people that are connected to people. Well, let's use an example. I was talking to a gentleman this morning. He's coming on today as a new credit literacy educator. He already had a car dealership relationship, so I'm not misleading saying he went to them because of us. He already talked to this, had a relationship with this car dealership. He was frankly doing credit repair for them. They have 15 clients, bad credit clients per day on average that they're going to be referring to him. 15 times 30, he's pushing 400 to 500 per month. So I'm telling you, the way to get big volume is to either have an extraordinary marketing campaign or simply plugging into people that already have that funnel of bad credit. All right, so thanks everyone. Let's get after it. Let's get our 1 in today, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Thanks everyone.